Feel lighter today with Heliacid.
On May 8, 1993, from a Lutani Research Facility's telescope came the haunting observation of the death of the moon. This would signal the start of the end in TechSmoon's new analog horror series, White Door Opened. Now, thankfully, this isn't the real moon because that would mean... oh god. But first things first, we have to talk about the main law every analog horror series has. There are two events, psychic and biological. Psychic events are actually changes to the brain, parts of it which are in charge of percepting the environment. These include your five senses. These events cause your brain to witness impossible events, such as the room around you changing and transforming. Now, these psychic events happen after a person comes into contact with a biological event. In a biological event, there are 5 distinct life forms: Tracers, Headless, Nephilim, Copyman, and Stretch. Tracers are vine-like entities that are completely black and do not cast a shadow. Headless is not the Headless Horseman, but instead a humanoid creature with, that's right, you guessed it, no head. Nephilim are 4-legged creatures with grey bony bodies with only a hidden mouth, which produce a horrible sound when near a human, like a choppy version of Siren Head. Copyman is an anomaly which exists at the bottom of the uncanny valley, using dead bodies to move, and over time the white muscle underneath appearing due to the effects of the anomaly. It moves at superhuman speeds and in 1993 was found to be able to imitate voices. Definitely not scary. Stretch finally is transmitted through contact with the anomaly or byproducts of it. Contact with said product stretches the bones in your body at an alarming rate and causes your organs to get decimated by your bones as they protrude through your skin and muscles. Red liquid and smoke are produced near the end of this process before the victim succumbs to that. Now that we know the basics, we can get into what happened. This wasn't the first hint of something weird. Just earlier that same year, an asteroid was discovered by a company called Lutanic named Thanatos. Somebody's toes. After the Greek personification of death, they launched a probe to look into it, and once it was able to send photos back to Earth, it had mysteriously lost contact. Even earlier than that, according to TechSmoon's community page, we see that even Giza was seeing some weird behavior with groups of 5 disappearing from the area. There was also a new pathogen discovered close after the discovery of the asteroid, about 10 km away. That's 6 miles for you Americans, from Canderas County's Mount Kadham. This will come up again very soon. From then on, they've been trying to find a cure. Later, we see a weird map with multiple things showing different lines and dots that are red, and a couple of lines going through Greenland, Russia, Sweden. Got a random YouTube red circle also. And wait, is that Mother Chiba? Is that Joma? Anyway, another version of the map shows some countries disappearing, including the US. No, but actually it looks like it just disappeared from the map. On May 10th, 1993, a fragment of an object called the Shard fell to Earth. It landed in many countries: Antarctica, Greenland, Sweden, America, Russia, and so on and so forth. Referring back to the map I just showed you, the red dots seem to be where they fell, or parts of it fell maybe. I still don't know what's with Jeremy's line, making this look like a Plague Inc. Evolved speedrun. The next map with the hidden countries also correspond to the countries stated here with the shards. But it's not that they were wiped off the earth. See, the fragment of the shard also fell in the sea. So it's not that the land itself ceased to exist, but more of the land and the sea got taken over by the same thing, making it look like it disappeared, and that makes it so much more terrifying. Now, who or what caused all of this? One of them is Benjamin. The other, as you saw, was Jeremy. Ben is Can I call you Ben? I'll call you Ben. Now, Ben over here used to work for Lutanic and was the project supervisor for the Collider. They never mentioned what it was used for or how they are testing it, but keep in mind the image of said Collider. Jeremy, on the other hand, seems to not be human, more of a humanoid name for something far from it. Before Ben became this final form, which we see from the intro video, he seems to be an average person before Jeremy got to him, turning him into the copy man.
That Jeremy had told him the truth. Then it wasn't him anymore.
Ben's change seems to have started during a Collider test.
Failure.
According to some eyewitnesses, they had a civic duty to prevent anything from coming through the Collider before Ben started acting mysteriously and disappearing. A day later, footage came out about a containment breach. Later that same year, counties start to get overtaken by a red mist. Referring back to the informational video, this red mist could be a biological event trying to spread and make people into stretchers. Nephilim also start to appear during this red mist event.
Documentation related to the deformed, enormous creatures should be reported to the State Anomalous Figure Organization's information.
Nephilims are also considered the son of God, and as we continue going through this analog horror, we start to see more references to the Bible. Fast forward to the 2000s, and it seems to be all quiet up until this point since the Red Mist incident, when suddenly traces start to grow around Guantanamo County, with hundreds of people getting symptoms of hallucinations, headaches, and dizziness. These traces do not look normal. Instead, they seem to be an evolved version of them. Exactly 2 years later, the Lutanic Company, the same people who recorded footage of the moon back in 1993, are cleared to distribute their new product, Heliocid. Close after the release of this medicine, there are reports of people and bodies floating high above the ground. A few days later, Tyler over here got lost in the woods of Candera National Park, one of the counties I mentioned before. His body was found later, but he shall be remembered for being kinda quirky and filming this video I've put in the background. Now, I don't know what the significance of it is, but that Eiffel Tower looking thing might be important later. After a few days, 5 more people also mysteriously vanish into the dark of the woods. In this same video, we get a URL to a website. As you can see, hidden in the scenes of this website are mentions of Jeremy, Copyman, and this new character called Henry.
Aw, dang it.
The creator confirmed that this picture is Henry in the comments. He kinda looks like he hates Spider-Man, but we'll get past it. Later, we see a new tape recorded to prevent further casualties, which was filmed right after the new type of anomalies were found, Type 3 anomalies. 2 people were recorded talking about an anomaly found in an old tunnel after the special announcement came out. Something about a headless figure found by 2 teens along with the body. The people talking about this event suddenly spot a Nephilim, but this version has lights coming out of its head. We find out that this is the Type 3 anomaly. 2 more years pass and it's now 2006. Footage comes up where somebody finds an anomaly, but it looks like the Copyman. Non-reflective black skin and white pinhole eyes. This could be another one of the evolutions changing to fit into the world. We also get a phone call from someone saying they are close to finding out who Jeremy is. Which is weird because it's kind of obvious. We also see footage of an old quarry which seems to have anomalies. After some searches, they find nothing, not even the missing person whose phone was found at the entrance of the quarry. The next day, the State Organization for Anomalous Figures sent 2 soldiers to secure it. They killed the Nephilim that was supposedly the cause of everything happening there, but it doesn't stop there. According to the description, that quarry was thought to be a reason why there were so many anomalies and the new types popping up everywhere. But even after being secured, weird things still happened. Like in this video, how the soldiers could hear a local radio station broadcast even though there were no batteries. This sounds familiar and could be a sign they were being affected by an anomaly, as it changes your perception of your surroundings using your senses. Later in the same video, we hear a disembodied voice talk about a man who stopped their passage through the web of reality. And now it's happening again. He won't let us go. He won't do it again. The blind sphere took away their consciousness. This he is of course our favorite Ben. What you gotta say, Ben? You're so funny. Anyway, a month later, a woman was killed. These are fake people, it's fine, it's fake people. Anyway, a month later, a woman was killed, impaled in the branches of a tree by a bipedal animal. In 2010, 5 people went missing after meeting Jeremy in South Poland. In 2012, 11 people now go missing in the woods of whatever, with only 2 people left alive. This seems to be a new instructional video for those working there that also talks about a recent Lutanic event taking out some of the radio stations in the area. It has a cipher that talks about how they have been here since the first human fear. This could mean that they've been around since the beginning of human life, as we have inbuilt fears of loud things and predators. Maybe even something to do with the uncanny valley, which makes sense why these things look so humanoid, but not quite. In Madness, we get a shot of this new cipher.
I was editing the video and I just realized it does not show in the season 1 completed, whatever it was called. It doesn't show the cipher for that part. It's just not in the video. I don't know if that's an editing error or not, but it is in the original Madness video, so...
And after a bit of digging, it says, "Let Ibdegod lead you." There's also this shot of random words, which I couldn't figure out, so ayo, shout out to this guy for figuring it out, I think. In 2013, there's also footage of 2 soldiers sent to a redacted place to investigate, but it ends up with one of them dying. They confirm that there is also a rumor that these anomalies come from the stars. Maybe Thanatos? I don't know. A month later, in April of 2013, we see a semi-mental anomaly becoming a physical one. And we switch between multiple contrasting locations, going from an abandoned room to the woods before sunset to a soldier running from a Nephilim and falling. In that same video, we see footage from the Lutanic archives in the style of the SCP websites, with an entry about organic paper, which looks like an origami dragon. Once you sustain a paper cut from it, you start to transform into the Refit woman. Now, considering the experiment number, there seems to be maybe multiple experiments or even anomalies in the Lutanic research facility, and as we've seen, Jeremy being one of them. 3 years later, in 2016, the last mention of an actual year, there is footage of a person playing the Midnight Game, which is an old pagan ritual to summon a demon at midnight. Using a candle and a wooden door, plus some other stuff, you'll have to survive till 3:33 AM. When the candle in your hand goes out, you have 10 seconds to relight it, or else, well, you better watch out. We see some notes being narrated by who I'm guessing is Marcus from the description of the video. He talks about a tape recorder as a metaphor, how you can play it over and over again, the contents never changing, and how you can play it forwards, backwards, or speed it up. The recordings have this white noise at the start and the end, which is only for us. There have been many events that has happened since 1993, and Marcus names all these events as one cycle. Normally, when this cycle is happening,
it does not affect noise that is normal life, but not in this case.
What I'm guessing from Marcus here is that noise, in this case, is a void. The area between heaven and earth, the place between atoms. Something went wrong with the cycle. The anomalies resulting from this used to have a place to go, the noise or the white door. From this same video, Fusion, the notes in the back talk about RM prep and asking questions of what is happening with the outside loop theory. The outside loop theory is probably what Marcus is talking about. There's also pictures of radio towers that we see sprinkled throughout multiple videos and on recording devices from victims. Next to it is written a range of hertz and the words infrasound. Infrasound is a low-frequency sound that is able to be heard by humans. There are cases in real life where people experience physical damages to their body. One study also suggested that it may cause a feeling of awe or fear in humans. Maybe it's been around for a long time. May even be humans' first fear. The copy man also seemed to have rebranded himself after his allegations into the Skin Man. Due to what happened on September 25, 2005, he's not considered a mimic anymore. Maybe he copies people's forms to blend in, maybe even to heal himself. Marcus also notes that when anomalies affect people, it acts like a disease. In this picture, you can see a tumor near the heart's left ventricle. This is noted as not a natural proliferation effect. Proliferation is something observed in most cancer cells, as how fast something grows and replicates itself. Cancer cells are very good at that, so they are prolific, copying themselves very quickly. The tumor seems to attach itself to the left ventricle and has tendrils going into the heart where the oxygenated blood gets pushed to the rest of the body. Using this method, whatever the tumor is spreading is going to be very effective and quickly reaches the rest of the body. In ants, we see a Facebook group dedicated to talking about the weird things happening, which looks closer to a conspiracy page. There's also talk about some cult activity going on. This cult activity probably has something to do with the Midnight Game. Some people are also speculating that Lutanic is putting people into the medicine, probably heliocide. In an earlier video, the words helium psychedrine are uttered with pictures of its structural formula. According to my very trustworthy source, Google Images, it has a very close resemblance to amphetamines. The side effects of these in rare cases are restlessness, blurred vision, and seizures. These people aren't at risk of being killed by entities, they're just high as fuck. Apparently just like me when I wrote this into the script. Wait, oh shh. Well, this chemical is also mentioned in a book by Stanislaw Lem, a Polish writer about a group of people crash landing on an alien world called Eden. Like an episode of Star Trek, they bump into some aliens called doublers, whose torsos are retractable into their large bodies. After some exploring, they realize most of the doublers don't care about them, except for one, which follows them back to their ship they are trying to repair. This doubler does not try to go back home. They get attacked by the rest of the aliens a bit later on, and a glass dome is created around their ship by them using air missile lightnings. They get out pretty easily by just blasting through them. They find out there's a difference between the naked doublers and soldier doublers. It seems like the naked doublers are under the rule of the soldiers as they are seen being gassed to death. This definitely looks like it's about World War II, especially as the writer is Polish. The crew meets another doubler who is dressed and seems to have a large knowledge of astronomy, and they learn a lot from him. There's more to this book, of course, but I'm going to focus on what I think is important in this context. They learn that these aliens have performed testing on their own kind, similar to what our boy Ben has been found guilty of. And because of these tests, they created deformed doublers, pushed out of society and denied by secret government. The cover story for them is that they were actually humans that were affected by cosmic radiation, turning them into that. Now, the reason I go into this book is because of some parallels to Tex Moon's world. The alien life is supposed to be our human society. Some of the plants look similar to the traces growing up from the ground, and there are two doublers from Lem's world that stay with the crew or help them. I think that these could be a parallel to Jeremy and Ben. Going back to the videos, there's also info about how Lutanic started investigating the shard fragments in 1995, the test subjects being fire ants which had startling effects. They used RM prep from 5 people who managed close contact with a stretch. In the earlier notes, you can see RM prep being either taken or injected into a person. And I think the same figure turns into an anomaly, which looks like a Nephilim. The aliens that experimented on their own kind is a parallel to how Ben experimented on those people in those human trials. And maybe the SCP-like things they created in those research facilities aren't alien life forms, but were created out of normal humans, maybe from the RM prep. There are also some references to the Bible too, with certain passages showing up in these videos, and especially because of the book called Eden. There are also some pictures of what I think look like biblically accurate angels or seraphim specifically. This picture of a mountain being hit with lightning is similar to a story in Exodus before Moses got the 10 commandments from God. During the week-long darkness that we see also mentioned in Ants and the emergency alert system in the White Realm, there were also a lot of lightning and deteriorating air quality in multiple places around the globe. Later, when scientists started exploring the seafloor, they found the sound of a bell ringing. The lightning, darkness, and the ringing bell are similar to when God descended from Mount Sinai, similar to Mount Kadam, and told his children that he brought them out of slavery. Bringing people out of an oppressive system and being looked up seems to be in common with these parts of the Bible and the crew of Lem's Eden. I'll just wrap it up here based on what I've gone through this whole video about this amazing series. The Iptigot, called the crater, may be the moon now, an extraterrestrial that caused the start of all of this with the asteroid, stopping the normal progression of the cycle that's been going on since Giza. Since then, the world has fallen into disarray. The testing done by Lutanic with the collider allowed some of these anomalies a passage into the world. The human testings didn't really help, even though they were probably started with good intentions to help humanity. But these anomalous objects have severe effects on natural beings. The man-made anomalies, I'm guessing 2 of them being the oppressor, the headless, and the liar, the copy man. Jeremy is trying to get more people to the White Door, an opportunity to free them from this oppressive system on Earth and to be enlightened by the Iptigot, the midnight game made by the cult that was also part of the natural progression of the world, a balanced way to allow anomalies to Earth and return them back, even though, they kill somebody or kidnap them in the process sometimes, but you can't really blame them. In the end, this White Door the Iptigot opened for us has closed, and now these anomalies are stuck here with us.